This is an update of a review I recorded a while ago on a Canon C200 mounted on a DJI Ronin-M gimbal, mounted on an Easyrig vest with a Flowcine Serene arm. Even though the Ronin-M is relatively old, some of the concepts explained here are still relevant, that's why I'm posting it again. So a few days ago I replaced my old Ronin-M with the Ronin RS2, which is a big improvement compared to the Ronin-M, both in terms of weight, size, portability and functionalities. So the Ronin-M with the Canon C200 system weighs more than 4 kilos, 2.3 kilos for the Ronin-M and 1.43 kilos for the C200 plus the weight of the lens. Meaning that after a few minutes you will probably get tired. So having a vest like the Easyrig allows you to distribute weight from your arms to your body so that you can focus more on the shots rather than on the weight that you are carrying. Gimbals can only compensate for angular vibrations in the pitch, roll and tilt angles. So if you want to get rid of vertical vibrations or the up and down movements you produce when you walk, you'll need something that acts as a low-pass filter. So when you mount a Flowcine Serene arm on your Easyrig, essentially this becomes a spring mass damper system or a low-pass filter. So it will filter out high-frequency vibrations. Here I try to compare the motion stability between two systems. Handheld Ronin-M plus C200 and Ronin-M plus C200 attached on the Easyrig system. I took shots while walking towards a target. The target position in the shots is tracked in After Effects and processed in MATLAB. If you want to know more about this code I used here, please get in touch. It turns out that the body oscillations along the x-axis are always present. These oscillations are due to human walk dynamics and can be reduced by walking in a better way. So let's briefly talk about this setup. Here is a DJI Ronin-M with a bunch of accessories. A P200 quick-release clamp slide plate adapter system for manfrotto standard base plates, a mobile phone support for the Ronin-M, 270-gram counterweight for the Ronin-M, an old mobile phone. Obviously you need to remove the monitor and the attachment unit, the grip, and the eye cap from the C200. I connect the manfrotto base plate to the camera. The good thing of having a quick release plate is that you can quickly remove the camera from the Ronin-M and mount it somewhere else, for example on a tripod, on a shoulder rig and so on. I won't show you how to balance the gimbal, there are plenty of videos on that. I then connected the mobile holder and the thumb controller. I've mounted a lightweight lens on the C200. It's a relatively cheap Canon EFS 1018 STM lens with image stabilization. I use two sets of power settings, the ones from auto-tune and manual settings. On the thumb controller I use three settings. ST on, so this means that the smooth track is on. ST off, smooth track is off. STA or auto center. The thumb controller is great for a single operator and you can adjust pan and tilt. There are limits in the tilt due to the C200 viewfinder obstructing the tilt motor movement. With the C200B you won't have this problem. So the tension of the Serene arm needs to be adjusted so that the arm of the Easyrig and the Serene arm are parallel. When you wear the Easyrig you'll need to make sure the straps are tight enough so that the rig doesn't move around when you walk. So let's talk about the tests. This cannot be a proper scientific test because it's hard to reproduce exactly the way I walk back and forward towards the target. So this is one of the tests. I track the target in After Effects. Then I export the points into Excel and then into MATLAB. This is the tracked point trajectory overlapped to the video. The first point is blue and the last point is yellow. Visualizing the track is a great way to quantify the smoothness of the movement over time. From this track we can also extract the X and Y positions over time. We can also do a simple frequency analysis by extracting the fast Fourier transform. So let's have a look at the tracks obtained when the Ronin-M is used with the auto-calibration settings. Here is a comparison between the 3 different modes with the handheld or vest-held Ronin-M. When the tracks show wide oscillations, it means that I'm close to the target. One thing we notice for all tracks are the left and right oscillations. This can probably be improved by walking in a better way. The other thing we notice is that with the vest we essentially reduce oscillations along the y direction. You can also notice that by looking at the aspect ratio of these graphs. They are larger for the handheld case and narrower when the vest is used. From the single x and y coordinates we can extract the oscillating components by simply subtracting the background or the smoothing line from the original x and y coordinates. With the vest we get a slightly lower standard error along the y direction. We also notice that oscillations along the x direction are always larger than the oscillations along the y direction. Also, the lateral walk swing has some effects on the y component as well. In fact, these oscillations look correlated. These are plots of the amplitude of the frequency response extracted from the fast Fourier transform of the x and y oscillations. And we note a dominant frequency due to the walk here, and another one in the y transform at double this frequency. These are tests done with different power parameters on the Ronin-M. The only thing I want to comment on this is that increasing power parameter or stiffness, as suggested in some tutorials, might introduce high frequency vibrations. Because these vibrations are in the Ronin-M itself, so they are angular, they cannot be reduced by the Serene arm. Now, of course, this video can be stabilized in post, but there are things you cannot fix, such as changing perspective in objects that are close to the camera. You can regard this as a sort of parallax effect. You can't get rid of parallax when you stabilize. So this is an example of stabilization using a single point. And this is an example of stabilization with the warp stabilizer in After Effects. So as I said, these stabilizations cannot deal with the change in perspective or parallax. I will briefly illustrate this concept. So let's say that you are looking at a box, obstructing the view of a target here in this position. The camera is here. This is the field of view. If you move to the left, you will see the target. If you move to the right, you will see the target as well. Now, you can stabilize the video by making sure the box is always in the same position. However, the stabilization cannot do anything about the target becoming visible when you move to the left and when you move to the right. So when you stabilize in post, you can have the box in the same position, but then the target will move from the left to the right, so on. So you will see the target oscillating even after you stabilize the video. As mentioned in other videos, there are 2 main advantages of using the vest with the arm. You don't get tired and you can focus on the shots rather than on holding the gimbal. And second, it dampens high frequency vibrations along the vertical axis. Regarding the second point, a great use of the vest with the arm is if you are planning to film from a bike or a vehicle, and oscillations induced by uneven road will be filtered, hopefully. This is an example of me wearing this system while riding a motorbike. You can also mount the C200 LCD monitor and attach it to the Ronin-M. However, the unit cable is both heavy and too short, which means that it creates tension. Canon sells a longer cable for like $300. You could also attach a larger LCD monitor on the Ronin-M. In any case, cables moving around are bad news for the gimbal stability, as they will perturb the static balance of the gimbal, as I explained in the previous video. If you don't want heavy cables exerting tension on the camera mounted on the Ronin-M, you can simply use a mobile phone connected to the camera Wi-Fi and access the Canon web page app, from which you can control the camera. You will need to type 198.168.080 as the IP address to access the Canon app after you connect to the Wi-Fi. So monitoring issues have been fixed with the DJI RS2, so if you can, just throw away your Ronin-M and get an RS2 as I did. Based on what I've read around, I believe a spring arm mounted on a vest should do a better job than the Easyrig shown here, but I haven't tried yet. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell, and please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.